turn this off. I think we're hitting. Jesus, I just gotta stop doing that. Oh my god, that's terrifying. Battery. It's like a magnet. A lot of you guys aren't going to care about this stuff, let's be honest. Some of you are, and I appreciate you guys, but the rest of you, I also appreciate you. You just want to see burnouts and make wild four-rotor noises at 8,000 RPM. But it does take some serious steps to get there. Right now, I'm doing something very critical with the computer system and the injectors, where instead of firing on one injector per rotor, I'm going to fire on two. And then on top of that, I'm going to be putting in E85 instead of pump gas. With the adaptronic, they don't change that much, but I still have to monitor the system. It's all new to me. I'm nervous. The car's not nervous. You guys are, if it's entertaining, it's entertaining. This is a critical step to getting this thing tuned properly. I'm leaving the last bit of pump gas in here because I'm gonna first change the injectors and see if swapping from 1 to 2 either doubles the fuel or it cuts in half. I don't know. How's it going? You know what? Yeah, what? That way I don't keep doing this to you guys, because
I was standing over there screaming at you.
Oh, okay.
I know you couldn't hear me. So.
Yeah. Finally have all 8 injectors working for all 4 rotors in one stage. The only issue is because I'm using pump gas, those 2 injectors flow more fuel than the minimum cutoff or pulse width that the injectors have. That's okay, because you require 30% more fuel with ethanol. It is finally time to use my 1-ethanol. I bought tons of things just to play with ethanol, and here is what would be considered like a street version. It's E85, and that is straight up guaranteed 85% ethanol, and the other 15% isn't crap like normal E85 is. So there's actually a difference, as I found out, between race E85 per se and street E85. The other 15% can be made up of really crappy gas and have a really low rating and cause a lot of the crap that you see inside of the combustion chamber. Here is business. So this, they call it R, or for race, E85 plus, and you can see the number underneath that. It's kind of representing the octane rating if you're trying to compare it to gasoline. There are so many advantages to using E85. A variety of people have had concerns about E85 gumming up rotary engines, and there are 2 parts. One I just covered with the 15% remainder of what's used in normal E85, and the other one is the 2-stroke oil. This is not a paid product sponsorship. If this stuff doesn't work, you'll know. We already had this engine torn down right before we started using this. 2-stroke meant for methanol, ethanol, ethanols. Any of those are alcohols of sorts. We're going to be using it with the correct fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and purge the fuel system out of the 4-rotor. I've never had a container of fuel like that. Like, what the hell are all these? Well, that actually makes sense. The fuel is inside of a bucket. You got to get to the bottom of the bucket. Just like my favorite Ninja Turtle, I could be Donatello and make this into a bow staff. And I picked this thing out because it's called a rotary pump. See, rotary barrel pump. It's straight up as a bow staff. You guys can't really see it, but it's actually really thick. Yeah. Oh, I see. Well, that's kind of cool. Well, they weren't lying about being tight. There we go. Got that sweet, sweet corn inside of there. Thank you for being right the first time. This is all new to me. Okay. So, part of me was like, oh man, I'm not gonna go through this very quick. Then the other part of me is like, that car, just idling goes through 5 gallons like it's nothing. Put a little retaining clip on. Start with 3 gallons. I'll go ahead and put 2 ounces per gallon just for now. This thing already kind of sucks. Really bummed out because it looks promising, but I'm gonna add 6 fluid ounces. Don't huff this stuff, but it smells so good. It's not a good thing. Oh, it looks like cough syrup too. It's the new scissor. It legit smells like bananas trying to smell like bananas. Let's go ahead and whoa, that's way quicker than I thought that would be. And that's way clearer than I thought that would be. I'm the fuel pump now. So this is one of the reasons I put the feed lines on the front, is that at any point I could just pull fuel and dump it from the front of the engine. Leave them alone. Shit, let me fill this in quick. There's still residual fuel in the other rail. There's still residual fuel because of gravity, and I didn't want to run the pumps dry. It is an E85 and gas mix. That's what flex fuel is the mixture of the two, and you have an ethanol sensor to differentiate. We're tuning based off air-fuel ratio. Well, the fuel has changed. What will show up as rich right now is now going to still look rich, even though we're shooting 30% less fuel in than is necessary to make the same changes. So that's a good reason for me to switch to lambda, which is how close is the fuel you're using to close to stoichiometric, which is fully burning. A lot easier to deal with when you're switching between types of fuels. Officially converting to E85. This is the first vehicle I've converted. There really isn't that much work to convert it because I built it for E85 to begin with. So really I'm just switching fuels, but you know, all the fuel lines, the pumps, the injectors, everything is E85 compatible. I was originally really against going to E85. I loved pump gas, I love race gas, well I loved, and then I realized how much it is per gallon. We're just gonna fire it up and see what we get. Go! Let's go ahead and get the fuel just cycling. Here we go. It should run cooler, by the way. That's one major benefit to E85. We'll see it in the exhaust gas temps as well as just the radiator. The pumps sound different running it. We did it. Regardless, we did it. She's got a totally different tune, totally different everything. Let's turn this off. I think we're hitting. Jesus, it's gotta stop doing that. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Look at that. Finally, for all of us. On behalf of everybody, myself and everybody on the channel, we thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, he got it. That is not why I grabbed the GoPro. I grabbed the GoPro because of this little box right here. That's it. It may, as it, look like traditional air hose to you.
Okay.
It's not. PTFE.
Is this for your shifter setup?
No. Although we could, we can use it for the shifter setup. I feel it feels different.
Thick? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how this feels, yeah.
This is capable of handling 400 or 500 degrees. These are super useful fittings. And this goes to that. We're gonna be using these on the wastegates. This is the only piece that could potentially cause me problems because it's not metal, but I'm gonna run it where it's not close to the exhaust. All of these nice and clean, straightforward. I'm gonna have both the air side, the atmosphere side, and the pressure side both ran to the MAC valve, or the 4-port solenoid. Right now I think I have close to 8 pounds of wastegate springs. I actually want to drop that down even lower. I thought I could do this by hand, and I was wrong, and I paid the price. I was gonna go this route, but with one on each side, but I again thought I could just do it by hand, because if you have just like this, which is I think 5 psi, almost 6, that is really easy to compress and put the lid on and not damage anything. Nope, I had all of these in there. That hole in the top simply is this pressure chamber here, and this hole on the side is the pressure chamber inside of here. And you want a 15-pound spring, and you want the spring to open up at the appropriate point. You just vent one to atmosphere and then put 15 psi onto the side. The difference of 15 to relative 0 will pull this, or inflate the bag basically that you see right there, and boom, that pulls the wastegate open. If you got exhaust back pressure, exhaust back pressure will push on this from way back there as well. So that's something that you'll hear people talk about their wastegates opening up. If you want to cheat the system though, and you have a 15-pound spring in here, and you put 15 pounds here, sure enough the spring will compress, this will open. But if you want to go double that, you actually have the pressure on this side. As you give it boost, this can't open up because both sides are still equal. I just want to take all the bolts out and then let these go. And while I work on getting these wastegates down to about 5 PSI, I think, the new fan shroud is going to house this thing that almost took my fingers off earlier, which you know that means it's good. That's going to pull a lot of air, mostly out of the radiator, but forcing it to come through the intercooler as well. We clearanced it so it would fit in this tighter spot. So I've got this just zip tied there. That's, I think, where it's going to end up being, the little valve. And this side is going to run up and over to the front of the turbo. And both of these are going to split into 2 as well. And each wastegate gets 1 of each. Okay. Okay. We'll do something like that. Whoa, relax. You'll have this like really gratifying second push where they get past the teeth. And you know when you've gotten through it. There. Pretty straightforward, all 4 going to either of these. So you see this little thing right there? That's basically just an air filter. So air goes in that route. This air line goes straight to this when this unit is not powered. And boost coming from the turbo goes to this line when not powered. You trace it back, and hopefully the ones that get atmospheric pressure are the ones out here, and the ones that get boost pressure are over here. The tables get turned when this unit goes into full mode, which can almost quadruple, if not more, the wastegate spring pressure. I'm gonna watch it warp so hard. Would you tell the kind folks watching this what this setup is?
This is a table and aluminum.
Damn, don't give away all of our secrets.
So this fan is much girthier than this fan.
Oh, damn. In the video, that's gonna look so different.
Look at that size. I mean, when she says size doesn't matter, I'm
She's
telling you.
lying.
Yeah, that is a lie. The reason why we can't just do this is because we have some nice little cantilevers that be like, you gotta go all the way up here. This one has that.
This is gonna sound like a jet engine when it turns on. I got the exhaust gas temp sensors working. Front one is 120 degrees because I had the heat gun on it. It's gonna do it.
It's like a magnet.
That's impressive. You saw it. And we can block that off and it'll get even more air through it.
Everything kind of finalized.
Yeah.
Cooling's finalized.
Oh yeah, the
Finalized.
alternator?
Alternator's finalized. Wastegates
Wastegate?
are on.
Yeah.
Injectors.
Yeah, right now it's at
You have
wastegate
brakes,
spring.
You have power steering.
Holy shit.
You have a catch can. Be ready for the bang.
Oh.
Deceleration fuel cut, what does that do?
When you rev it and then let off. And
Well, that's probably why it's been banged. It's in the VIP list in the back of the
that's
clip.
right. Yeah, battery.
You hear the sound?
Yeah, I'm gonna need the batteries running low.
The crackhead's running off with this battery. Battery.
Now, that was fuel cut.